In this video, I'm going to show you how I am going to design the app for next year with distinct digits. So let's start a new project. We call it distinct digits. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is to change the title here. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to change it to next year with distinct digits. Now, what I need is for the user to be able to enter the current year. So I need layout, a horizontal one, change the width to be the whole screen. Then I'm going to drag and drop a label. Then I'm going to change the text to enter a year. And now I'm going to drag and drop a text box. And also I need a button. Now for the button, I'm going to change the text to be process. For the text box, I'm going to change the name to input, let's say txt, again txt to emphasize that the element is text box. And for the button, I'm going to change it to process btn. btn stands for button. Now I also need a notifier. I drag and drop it. The only thing I have to do is for the text box, I'm going to erase the hint. Now everything is done, so we're going to go and start writing the code. The first thing is that I'm going to introduce a new variable which is going to keep track of if I have found the next year, which is all distinct digits. I'm going to call it found, and I'm going to assign an initial value of false. I told you in the class that one type of variables are called Boolean. The Boolean variables are either true or false, 0 or 1. Found, I'm going to use it as a Boolean variable. So I'm going to assign the initial value of false to it. The other thing is that I'm going to introduce a new variable again, and I'm going to call it year. This keeps track of the next year as we go along inside the loop until we find the desired year with distinct digits. So initially I'm going to set it to 0. The next one, we are done with the variables. Now we are going to start writing the code. We want to start the process when the process button is clicked. Now the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to set the variable again, because I have to make sure that every time the user clicks on the button, we are going to start with the fresh value for found. I'm going to set the value initially again to false. So we haven't found anything yet. Now, because we have to find the next year, I'm going to set the variable year to be the input value that the user enters plus 1. So I need a block which is going to add 1 to the year that the user enters. Now the user enters the value in input text. So this is, for instance, if I enter 2020, the year starts with 2021. Now I'm going to use a new block called while loop. You have already seen the for loop here, which goes from, let's say in this case, from 1 to 5, increment of 1. If you know the start number and end number, the for loop is the best one. Sometimes you don't know the number of times that you have to go through the loop, like in this case. You have to continue adding 1 to the year and checking to see if all the digits are distinct. This doesn't work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this loop, which is a while loop. The while loop checks this test here. If the test is true, then it continues. If the test is false, it's going to stop. As long as the year is not found, I'm going to continue with this loop. So I need a not operator, which is going to make the value of found the opposite value. Initially, the value is false, so not false is true. So the test is correct, so it goes inside the loop. Now, the first thing I'm going to do inside, and I'm going to change the found. You will see why I'm going to do that. I'm going to say found to be true. You may wonder, why am I setting found to be false here and suddenly I set found to be true? Just wait for a second, you will see why. So I say found to be true. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start with the first digit of the number, and then I'm going to check to see if the rest of the number contains that digit. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to use a for loop now. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say for now. Now I'm going to start from the first digit and I'm going to continue until the length of the year. So this one is garbage. So I need the length of the year. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to bring a length here. Now I want the length of the year. So I'm going to go and get the year. So this means that if the user enters 2020, the length of the year is 4. I'm going to start from the first digit, continue until the last digit, okay? And I'm going to go increment that by 1, every digit. Now I'm going to check to see if that particular digit is going to be included in the rest of the number. How am I going to do that? First of all, I need an if condition. So I'm going to say if. Now, what am I going to check is that I'm going to say if the rest of the number and the digit that I pick here, it is contained that digit. Meaning, I'm going to go to text and I'm going to say the contains, yeah, this one. And I'm going to say if contains. The text that I want is the rest of the number. So I need to get, I'm going to explain it when I have all the blocks together. So I'm going to say if the segment, okay, segment, and the segment again is the global variable year. The start of this one is going to be the rest of the number. So it's going to be number plus 1. So I get the number I need a plus here. +1. And the length is length of the year -1. So I'm going to go to math, and I'm going to say length of the year -1. So I need length of the year -1. And I want to see this segment of the text, or not the text, but the year is going to have the digit represented by the number. So I need to get the segment. So I'm going to go again to text, and I'm going to get the segment. Again, the segment is going to be the year, and the start is going to be my number, and the length is going to be 1. Now, let me explain this part, because this is a confusing part. Let's say I start with 2020. The year is 2020. I start with the first digit, which is 2. Now I'm going to look at the rest of the number, but I'm going to start from the second digit to the last digit. Okay? Now, this means that I'm going to compare the first digit, which is 2, with the last 3 digits, which is 0, 20. And I'm going to say, does this substring contains this substring? This substring means the year starting in the index 1 for length 1, which is only one digit, which is 2. Does 2 contained in 0, 20? If the answer is true, then I'm going to set found is equal to false. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to put it here. So I'm going to do this one for every digit, starting from 1 to the last one. At the end, when these are done, I'm going to check to see if found is false. If found is false, then I know I have to go to the next number. If found is still true, then it means I found the number. Okay? So I'm going to add another if condition here. I'm going to add it here. And I'm going to say if found. So I'm going to say to variables, and then I'm going to say if found. Then I'm going to use the notifier, and I'm going to show the year here. So I'm going to get the year. Now I need the title. I'm going to say next year with distinct digits, and then this is going to be okay. What about if global found, okay, is not true, meaning that this one made it false? Then it means else I have to add 1 to the year and go to the next one. So set year to year plus 1. So I go back to the variable and I get year plus 1. I just noticed a problem here. This 1 is incorrect. What we have to have here is we have to subtract it from the number here. The reason is the following, that for when you're checking any digit here, for instance, if you're checking digit 1 of 2020, which is number 2, okay, we have to check it against the substring from the second digit, okay, to the rest of the number. And the rest of the number is that you have to find the length of the number minus the index. Which digit are you dealing with? For instance, if you're checking the first digit of 2020 is 2, which is this guy, and the rest of the number is 0 to 0, which is length 3. So this one gives us 4 minus 1 is going to be 3. If we go to the second digit, which is 0, this one gives me the second digit, and now I want to check to see if the 0 is inside the substring from digit 3 to the length of string, which is 4, minus 2, which is 2. So that's why, we had to sub this get number instead of 1. Now, I've already started the emulator. If I go here and enter 2020, which is current year, if I click on process, then you can see the first year, which this guy is going to be different, is 2031. Now, to check against the homework says 1987. So if I go back to my emulator and I type 1987, let's see what we'll get. If I hit process, after a little bit, processing, it gives me 2013, which is the number which is given in your homework.